You guys know that I've always been big on rough notes and final study notes, even after I left med school. I've kept all my medical school notes in the hope that one day I will get back to them to rewrite them neatly. However, as the years pass, I have come to realize that I will probably never get back to them, to be honest. Fantastic human. Hello. It's Robsy with Paperless X. To master the use of the apps that we cover on this channel, make sure you head over to our second YouTube channel, Paperless Humans, for both free and paid courses. You can also access them on our website via Patreon, and we even have them on Udemy if you prefer that. We will have a link to all of that in the description down below. Most of you guys know that Noteful has been our biggest sponsor in the last couple of years. I love Noteful for two reasons. The first is that I was going to use the app anyway, but the developers still chose to support this channel. And thanks to that partnership, I thought I would finally be able to buy some time to get on with my final study notes. But turned out that most of our interns couldn't work independently. So I spent a lot of time teaching them how to do what we do and checking their work to make sure that we continue producing the content you guys love. Maybe I'm just a terrible teacher, but that actually took more time than when I was working alone, which meant I had no time to write my study notes at all. When our partnership with Nofu ended, I found myself with no interns because I now had a limited budget and obviously couldn't pay them. So it went back to just me and good old Uncle Dan. He is only focusing on paperless humans, so it doesn't really help me on this side. Yeah, with all of that going on, I have failed to do my final study notes with people helping me out. I mean, what are the chances that I'll do them working alone? In my depression, I went through all the notes that I've been taking in Noteful these last couple of years and realized that they're all rough notes that keep expanding and growing. And now I realize I don't actually need final study notes. As we covered more apps and we did more things on the channel, I had to add more digital notebooks to my app notes, which works, but is this the best setup that I can have? So I started asking myself that question. For interns, we used two apps when we had interns working with us. We had Apple Notes if the person had any Apple device that they can use, or we use Google Docs if they didn't. I'll still have to go back to Noteful to update the guidelines and the notes that are my personal notes for work. When I took a step back to try and organize my digital life, I realized that my note taking style has changed and that I needed a new note taking system because I don't have as much time as I used to between work, family, and all of that. To bring some sanity into my crazy digital workflow, I have had to change around a couple of things. I type 90% of the time and I only handwrite 10%. I handwrite plans for our user guides, reviews, comparisons, and meetings that we have, planning content for you guys. For typing, I mostly type directly on the website, but if not, I'm doing it in Apple Notes. And now, without any interns, I definitely won't be using Google Docs anytime soon. But the new updates to Apple Notes in iPadOS 18 made me, for the first time ever, consider adopting Apple Notes as my main note-taking app. Collapsible notes, creating hyperlinks, and collaboration are the main reasons I am switching to Apple Notes. I also love the new Maths Notes feature because I'm doing a lot of calculations lately. I've also realized that I hardly mix handwriting with text, but there are times I do want to type notes, and when that happens, it's usually not inside text boxes, which is the typical setup you get with most handwriting note-taking apps. So the feature I've disliked most about Apple Notes for years is actually the feature that I need right now. Apple Notes supports body text that doesn't overlap with your handwriting. No other handwriting note-taking app can do that, especially because now we even have functional text boxes in Apple Notes, so if I do need those, I can still mix handwritten notes if I want to. And that just makes Apple Notes the perfect handwriting note-taking app. especially because I took up scrapbooking, which I started back in December, but I couldn't keep it up because in Noteful, each time inspiration hit, I had to be close to my iPad. Otherwise, I would just brush it off and then forget about it because I can only use Noteful on my iPad. But if I'm using Apple Notes, I can type when I'm outside and on the go, then handwrite when I'm back at home, which really works for me. And also, my family is working on a couple of projects. And since everyone has an Apple device, Apple Notes simply just makes sense because it has easy collaboration. And the app is also easy to figure out, especially because I had everyone watch the Apple Notes course on Paperless Humans. Now, when so many people are involved in a single notebook and everyone's just scribbling ideas, I have to rely on the search tool to find anything because I'm not the one who wrote that. Noteful has a terrible search tool. So, like I did when I left Notability, my current notes in Noteful will remain there for a while and create new ones in Apple Notes, but I've already started moving my scrapbook to Apple Notes. It doesn't have a lot of pages because I haven't really been consistent. So there are definitely a couple of things that I will miss in the app. The second reason why I absolutely love Noteful, which I haven't mentioned this whole time, I still remember I gave you one reason. The second reason is the amazing pen tools. My handwriting looks amazing in the app, much better than it does in Apple Notes. Going to Apple Notes, I'm actually not going to be using the pen tool in Apple Notes. I'm going to be using the pencil tool, which I've always wanted to do. And I've never liked the pen tool in Apple Notes, but it's really offering a lot of features that I need right now. So handwriting and how my handwriting looks is really not that important because I'm not trying to create beautiful notes. I'm just trying to jot down information and keep track of it. I will also miss the layers and how easily I could use our digital notebooks in Noteful, which I will definitely not be able to do in Apple Notes. There is definitely a permanent place for Noteful in my heart. And no, I have not been sponsored to say that. I loved Noteful before the developers decided to support this channel, and I continue to love it after they've stopped because it is a brilliant handwriting note-taking app. Contrary to popular belief, our opinions as Paperless X are not biased because the developer is sponsoring us, and that is one of the reasons we don't actually have a lot of sponsorships on this channel. So, shout out to the Noteful developers one last time. The second part of my life that needs some organizing is my Bible study setup. I'm currently doing it in the Olive Tree Bible app, which has been fun since they added some expensive formatting options, but it still feels inadequate. I want something more robust that will allow me to add both text and handwritten notes. I tried moving it to Noteful a couple of months ago to take advantage of the page cropping feature, where I enlarged the pages and wrote on the sides, but without any way to hyperlink the notes, everything felt disconnected. I also tried doing it in liquid text, where I added different workspaces for different things, and for a while, I liked that setup. But when MarginNote 4 was released, I couldn't resist the flashcards that I could create in the app. To start off my journey, I need to move all my highlights from my current Bible study app. There are a lot, and unfortunately, there is no shortcut to moving them. I have to actually do this manually, each one by one. And to make it easier, I plan to move them according to the different categories. So I'll start by focusing on my favorites. I've already added my Bibles to my Bible study set in MarginNote 4. And for this, on my iPad, I opened the Olive Tree Bible where I'm moving information from, so I can look at that information on a different screen. Because two devices felt a lot easier than switching between two different apps on my MacBook. A couple of minutes into this, I was already frustrated by how unstable the MacBook version of MarginNote 4 is. I tried searching to work faster, but the search engine in MarginNote 4 was really slow, which shouldn't be happening on the first day you use an app and when you don't even have any documents. And that's probably why I've decided to just use MarginNote only for Bible study. where I won't be adding more documents to it because I just know how unstable it is. After some time and a lot of struggle, I soldiered on to create some cards to see how my highlighters were looking, just in case I needed to adjust them. And once I figured out how to add them, I got tired of sorting my highlighters on the MacBook, so I switched to the iPad. I'm a bit rusty, that's true, but the MacBook version of MarginNote 4 is just unusable at this point. I found that the touchscreen is faster than a mouse. Initially, I was planning to move all the highlights in a single day, but after just 20 highlights, I was tired. I have hundreds of these to transfer and I'm willing to do it, but it's going to take some time. Also, instead of using MarginNote 4 as my only Bible study, after this experience, I decided to use it as a complementary one because at the moment the app just feels a bit unstable. So I will definitely be going back to the Olive Tree Bible a lot, which is not what I was planning to do. So my new workflow, now I am using Apple Notes instead of Noteform, and I definitely won't be using Nebo anymore because I don't think I'll be handwriting anything. Typing is faster, and I have just resorted back to doing that. MarginNote 4 now complements my Olive Tree Bible for my Bible study sessions, and Liquid Text remains my go-to research app. Liquid Text really does well for that. And speaking of Liquid Text, we have a complete course on Paperless Humans. If you want to master the app, if you want to learn how to use it, be sure to check it out. What changes have you made recently? Do tell. We hope you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up. If you did, thank you, fantastic human, for watching. See you in the next video.